It has been such a pleasure to be in Indonesia and to be able to visit all these different locations. I had been in Indonesia only once before, and that was 20 years ago when I was here for a wedding of a friend. And so this time was an opportunity to visit many cities that I had not visited before in parts of the country that, of course, I had never visited before. And interacting with the students, the parents, and the different institutions that we met was such a delight. We visited Semarang first. We went up to Mount Bromo for a little bit of R&R, rest and relaxation. Then we went to Malang, followed by Surabaya, followed by Makassar, and then back here to Jakarta. It's been incredibly energetic. All of our interactions with students have been delightful. I've been so impressed. In many cases, I've been so impressed with the level of English ability because my specialty is in teaching English as a second language. Many of the students are at a much higher level than in other countries in Southeast Asia that I've visited. But I've also enjoyed interacting with the school officials and talking to different ones about the possibility of linkages, bringing institutions in the U.S. together with institutions here in Indonesia to foster both more understanding and cooperation, but also to help both of our different respective countries grow in our understanding of each other and in development of our educational systems. Most explicitly, I'm sure people have heard that there's many thousands, over 4,000 different institutions in the U.S. We know that nowadays students have difficulty choosing, and there are many misperceptions about the difficulty, the idea that there's a difficulty of getting in, or the idea that it's difficult to get a visa, or the idea that it costs too much money. And the we've been taking to every place we go is to say those barriers are no longer barriers. Those things have been swept away. Some of that may have been true in the past, but it's certainly not the case now. There are more opportunities for more Indonesian students to study in the U.S. than ever before. Visa is not a problem. Cost is not a problem. There's many sources sources of money that will help students pay for their education. And in addition, the availability is there. And through the Education USA centers, students can access unbiased information about each of these institutions. Through the Education USA centers, and especially through country coordinator Brooke Ross, who I'm putting in a plug for right now because he's such a great guy, they will be able to access information about all the different institutions, but also be able to use a database that helps them narrow down their search to a manageable size. Of course, with a sea of schools, like 4,200 schools, it's really difficult, and it may be just frightening to even contemplate, how do I make a choice? Education USA is there to help students make that choice. We've been here for only 10 days to make connections, to try to spread the message that education in the USA is accessible to all these students, but the Education USA Center is going to continue to be here following up on what we've done and to pursuing those opportunities with both institutions as well as individuals to make it possible for every Indonesian who desires to, who has a dream to study in America, to be able to come and do so. Actually, I want to turn that around and I say that actually there's a two-way benefit. Certainly, Indonesian students, the education in the U.S. is the model for the world. I mean, most of the top 100 schools in the world are in the U.S. Many of them are represented here in this group. And so certainly there's a benefit of coming to a country which has a long standard of a progressive democracy, that has an education system that is the envy of the world, where many students want to gain further education. So certainly we want to partner with Indonesian students who want to access the excellent institutions that are available. But also in the U.S. we need to understand more about Indonesia. Many times when I was traveling around, I would engage in dialogue with students, and especially I often bring up this fact that especially as I was engaging with Muslim students, I realized that the kind of Islam that is practiced in Indonesia is a pluralistic, non-violent, open to dialogue kind of Islam, which in the U.S. is not understood. And it's really important for us as Americans, as the United States, to understand Indonesia, to be engaged with the wonderful people of Indonesia, and to further the cooperation both in educational and religious and political spheres, such that both of our countries can grow together into a much more understanding world in the future and a more peaceful world. Thanks so much. Aloha and mahalo.